Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode number 40 of the Whitey and Will Sports Show. Today is Wednesday, July 13th, 2022. And if you think that that's awfully close to the last time when we recorded a show, well, you're right. Just 2 days later, we have got another one for you. It's Professional Athlete Week here on the Whitey and Will Show. We had Chad Green on Monday. Now it's Wednesday, and we have got a pro golfer right here and a guy that Mike Wilson has been talking about trying to get on this show since we decided to start doing it. I think finally got it worked out. Mike, why don't you do the honors of introducing our guest today?
Well, it's a flowery introduction. Mr. Niebrugge, Jordan Niebrugge. I went to college. Well, I knew his dad before college, but went to college with his dad at Eastern. Played a little intramural softball together, probably a little intramural basketball. Probably spent some time at Marty's. That's a rumor. But, I've kind of followed Jordan's career as a golfer through his dad. He's always kind of kept me in touch. And Jordan, I saw him play a couple tournaments on TV early. And then just watched him seize a great moment one time. But our guest today is Mr. Jordan Niebrugge. Now, Jordan, I don't want to butcher the town in Wisconsin where you grew up. Was Mequon? Mequon. See, I already butchered. So that's where you guys. I knew you grew up in Wisconsin, and then he attended Oklahoma State, small little golf school. And just, from there, you just continue to go and go. So, I want to do a little background on you and throw out some stats here before I ask you that question. I told you it's going to be a tough one to start. But like 2013, you played on a Walker Cup team, which is for amateurs against Great Britain and Ireland, correct?
Yep.
Okay. And Justin Thomas, Max Homa, two of your teammates on that team. And I think in a match, you beat a young man from England by the name of Matt Fitzpatrick, maybe in a doubles match.
We may have tied that match. Me and
All
right.
But Fitzpatrick just won the U.S. Open, correct?
Correct.
All right. And then I watched this one on TV in 2015. Another Walker Cup, and there was a guy named Bryson DeChambeau on the team. And even then, the announcer said he was kind of goofy. I remember that about it. So, and earlier, I guess also in 13, you were on the Spirit International Amateur Golf, and some guy named Scotty Scheffler was your partner?
Yeah.
World number one right now. I saw a nice interview with him this morning.
Yep.
So, and that's nothing. That's nothing, because my favorite tournament is the British Open, and I have got to play St. Andrews, and I watched as much as I could watch. I'd be up at 3 a.m, and in 2015, you finished tied for 6th, correct? British Open tied for 6th.
Correct.
Low amateur, got the silver medal. Still hold the record for lowest amateur 72-hole score, correct?
Yep.
All right, and just a couple guys, some guy named Tiger Woods, Phil Mickelson, Sergio Garcia, Justin Rose, Rory McIlroy have all played in that tournament as amateurs. And, the thing they all have in common is they look up because you're at the top of that list. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So here is your tough question I have for you. Biggest day in your life, July 5th or July 20th, 2015, or July 22nd, 2022?
Well, I couldn't tell you that because that hasn't happened yet. But
Well, let's just look into the
after
future.
that, I would have to say July 22nd.
All right. And the reason we choose that date is because you're getting married next week.
Yes, sir.
So early congratulations. And I was actually talking to your Aunt Tammy the other day, and that's how I found out when you were getting married. So
yeah. They're coming up for the wedding. I think everybody from the Niebrugge side's coming up, so it should be a good time.
Are they going to have a beer tent?
I'm sure there'll be plenty of beer out there.
Because your cousin Tyler, I helped coach in basketball. So I'm assuming, he's now 21. So I know he's finally had his first beer. But, there's some of those guys will enjoy some beverages.
Oh yeah, for sure. We got a little golf outing on Thursday, the day before, so it should be a good time. We got, I don't know what it is, 50 of us. So
There you go. Well, good. And did you meet your wife at Oklahoma State?
no, we actually grew up together here in Mequon. Went to
Okay.
grade school together. So
Okay. Well, cool. So a couple things I know. First of all, when you were growing up, golf wasn't the only sport you played, correct?
Yep.
I mean, you see a lot of kids today, if they're golfers, that's all they do, and they don't do any other sports. You were a pretty good baseball player, right?
Yeah, baseball and basketball, a little bit of football.
I was gonna say 6'4", had to have been at least a little interest in basketball, I would think.
Yeah. I didn't grow until I probably grew 6 inches, I'd say, from 8th grade to freshman or sophomore year. So big part of that was during that. But I always loved sports, basketball, baseball is probably one of my. If you had to ask me my favorite sport, I'd probably say baseball. I've always liked it, and I grew up loving the Cardinals. And my dad I like every sport, but between baseball and golf is right around my favorite sport.
I'm guessing if you're anything like your cousin, basketball, you'd like to stay beyond the 3-point circle, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's understandable. And yeah, your dad did say you were a very good baseball player. So that had to be kind of tough in the summer, what you're devoting time to.
Yeah. We traveled a lot. As far as I remember, we traveled a lot for baseball and golf. Obviously, we went to Cooperstown for baseball. We went to Cal Ripken for baseball. We played a tournament in St. Louis, Indianapolis. We kind of went all over. We had a really good team. Actually, fun fact, I threw was it a no-hitter? Yeah, no-hitter at Cal Ripken. I forget what year it was, eighth grade or 7th grade, but I can still remember that. I remember the next probably 2 days I couldn't feel my arm, but it was a good experience.
So did you play baseball all the way through high school, Jordan, or at some point did you stop?
I quit going into high school because we play summer ball up here for baseball,
Okay.
and I travel a lot for golf. And then once I committed to Oklahoma State, I played my junior year in high school. Coach let me play on the team. I didn't have that. I couldn't stay in the game. I just pitched, and I couldn't stay in the game for more than a couple innings because my arm stamina was gone. But I closed a lot of games for us, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed being on the bench and with our friends, and being able to come in and pitch 1 or 2 innings here and there was awesome.
And that's good. And again, I like the fact you weren't a one sport focus growing up. You played a lot of things, and not only is that important to see what you really like, but it really helps you be competitive in everything you participate in.
Oh yeah.
All right. So Oklahoma State, when you get there, quite a school with quite a good list of alum.
Oh yeah. Yeah. We probably have, I don't know how many are on tour right now. Probably close to 10 or 12, but the names you can rattle off from early on till now it's endless.
So as you were in the recruiting process, because if I remember right, wasn't Illinois on that list too?
Yeah. My best friend Charlie Danielson ended up going to Illinois. It came down to those two. It was probably one of the toughest decisions I've made. And ended up going to Oklahoma State and loved it there. I'm sure if I went to Illinois, I would have loved it there too. But Coach Small's a great coach, and ended up going to OSU and kind of never looked back.
Any of those OSU famous alum reach out to you during the recruiting process, or they leave that all up to the coach?
pretty much all up to the coach. A lot of the guys there, Peter Uline, Morgan Hoffman, Taylor Gooch, Wyndham Clark, or Wyndham was my roommate, but Taylor Gooch was there, a couple other guys. Um, on our visits, we'd hang out with them. I didn't really know how good of players they were until obviously they were at Oklahoma State, but until they went to the next level and they themselves were on a Walker Cup team and kind of got to see that firsthand, being around them when I was getting recruited.
So, I mean, obviously college, you guys had a pretty good, you had a pretty good career there. I think you won a regional one year. Didn't you individually a medalist?
Yeah, I won at Yale. I don't even remember, maybe my junior year we won at Yale. Set a course record, 61. And then we actually won. I'm trying to think, either 2 or 3 regionals as a team. Probably 3 regionals as a team while I was there.
And then, you know, I know you won the public links, which qualified you for the Masters.
Yeah.
And, you know, that was, I enjoyed watching you. You know, I watched you in that one as well. Now, you had one hole kind of bit you in the ass a little bit that day, but what was it, 12?
Yeah, 12. I got a little unlucky break there hitting
You got a horrible break. I still don't know how that ball stayed where it stayed when you got
I
trouble.
keep watching year after year, and I see ball after ball hit where mine did and just come right back in the bunker. But
Yeah.
that was a whole ordeal with the drop, and I ended up having to putt it down the hill. I don't know what was going on, but it was definitely a tough tournament, being my first or tough first professional event. Being the Masters, it's pretty scary to say the least. But I had an awesome time. We had a lot of family there, a lot of friends there, so it was awesome to see them and hang out with them.
Now, are those the fastest greens you've played on?
Up there, I've probably played on a few faster greens than them. Typically, the ones that don't have any grass on them, but the purest, fastest greens I've played on is there, and it's amazing how much slope is on those greens.
And that's the thing. I've got a lot of friends who've gone down, and they're like, you know, the hills and the undulation and the whole course is incredible. TV doesn't give it justice.
Yeah.
And but no, that was, I mean, you know, that's got to be tough. The first tee of the Masters, are you just telling yourself don't whiff?
Coach just kept. I had my coach,
Right.
coach caddy for me because he caddied for Peter Uline there a couple years prior when he won the USAM. He just kind of kept giving me water, and he's like trying to like distract me. And then got called up. I just pretty much blinked and it was down. I hit it perfect straight down the fairway. I got up to my ball, and one of the spotters on the hole said that was the furthest drive today. And so I was like, all right, must have a little juice in me. So
Well, that's awesome. I mean, and again, that whole tournament, you know, is so impressive. Now, you played in the US Open as well, didn't you?
yeah, I qualified in 2017 here at Erin Hills.
Okay. So 2015, you go to England, try to play in a couple tournaments, and was the whole goal to eventually play in a qualifier?
So I went over with my dad and Charlie Danielson, and we went over. We played in the British Am, which was obviously probably one of the main reasons why we went over there. We played in the British Am, we played in the English Am, and then Charlie and I are both exempt into sectional qualifyings for the Open. So that was going to be our last day there, or the day before our last or whatever. And it was a 36-hole event, same as over here. So we both played it. Charlie actually missed by 1 or 2, if I remember right, and then I ended up winning it with another guy at 3 under. So we came back here and then pretty much went straight back over there. So we were over there for a month or so.
So when you walk off that course, knowing you've qualified for probably the most famous tournament in the world, to be honest, what's going through your head?
I mean, I feel like at the time I didn't really know how big that was to qualify um, until, after the fact, or even like thinking about it now. We actually, so that we played Carnoustie for the British Am, and we came over, or we drove over to St. Andrews to check it out. Um, just because all the grandstands are there. Someone at Carnoustie said you have to go there. It's 45 minutes or whatever hour drive over there. You got to go see it. They'll allow you to walk all over the place, and I mean, it was incredible. And then ended up playing the tournament and the qualifier and getting in. So we were right back there a couple weeks or a week and a half later, and it was awesome. I mean, you can tell by kind of the interviews today and yesterday on TV how much people admire that course and that place.
Oh yeah, I actually got to play it in the 80s, and they were experiencing a drought. And when I played it, I mean, yeah, the course is dripping with history, and it was in July, but the Open was somewhere else. I don't even remember where the Open was the year I played. But at first the course, I was like, man, it's like a lot of public courses back here when it gets dry. It gets a little brown, a little crispy around the edges, but you know where you're at. So you're there, practice round. How do you keep from just being a gawker, walking around saying, "Oh, look, there's
Um, I don't know. I felt like I was very familiar because there's a couple of OSU players playing in it. So that was great. Ricky, Jonathan Moore, Morgan Hoffman.
Would Ricky let you play a practice round with him?
Yeah, so us four, we actually have a picture of us fours standing on the bridge on 18, which is it's a great picture. But that was very comforting, just having familiar face there. I had a great caddy that I met that week. He was a caddy at the club, and he pretty much told me where to hit it, and I followed it. And I didn't ask any questions, and we'd get up there, and my ball would be in a good spot, and I was pretty much went from there. But that week was awesome. Just from the people I got to play with to the whole experience, and my finish was kind of all you could ask for.
Well, and the thing about that course is, you're right. You have to know where to hit it, because you think you hit a good drive, and you get up there and you're in a pop bunker the size of a fire pit, and you're like, first of all, how am I going to get out of here?
Yeah.
Or how am I going to get out of here going towards the hole? And sometimes those bunkers become a two-shot penalty. Just the local knowledge is incredible.
That was honestly probably one of the reasons why I played so well. Is just I don't think I hit it in more than one or two fairway bunkers the whole week, which is, I mean, out there, I don't know how many bunkers there are, but there are a lot, and they come back in course or out and in course. I mean, those same bunkers are there on every single hole on the left side. So I did a good job that week, and we got out of position. Like sometimes he would tell me to hit it even further the opposite way to get.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, it's crazy how to play that course.
And I saw an interview, like I said, I saw Scheffler, and I don't know if they were talking about playing third or literally hitting it down, and then like 13 hitting it down 5 fairways, completely hitting it in another fairway. And he says, the safety is a concern because you're kind of crisscrossing at times out there.
Yeah, same with the par 5 on that backside. If you can't get over those cross bunkers, probably 80 yards in front of the green, you can't see them if you lay back. So a lot of people just send it left. You can get up higher. It's on, I don't know what fairway that is 3 or 4 or 5 or whatever. But you just send it down that fairway, you can see the green and you can get up closer. And I don't know, if you don't have a caddy that knows that, or you don't look at any of the history or any of the previous tournaments, you'd never know that. And it's
Oh, I know. And
strokes.
they had a little deal with some amateurs on Monday I saw on TV, and they were talking about 17's tee, and they even said, you hit it over the O in course on the sign. When I played with the member, I still remember him telling, we walk up to 17's tee, and I'm like, well, what do you do here? And he goes, laddie, you hit it right over the O in course. And I thought, well, if I push it a little, I'm probably going to break a window if I hit it there. But he told me to hit it there, and it stayed straight for some act of God. But that's maybe the most intimidating tee shot you can have.
Yeah, especially the wind we played. We played pretty much the whole backside. It was like shoot as low as you can going out, and then hold on for dear life coming back, because the wind was off the left the whole way, so pushing everything out of bounds. And so on that hole, it would have been pretty much into and mostly off the left, so everything's just pushing your ball straight into the
hotel. Yeah. And like I said, you hit it over a wall there, and it's not a small wall.
No.
And
it's a full on house you're hitting it over, basically.
It is with a lot of glass. There's a lot of glass there. So wasn't it Mickelson hit one up on a patio?
Yeah. I don't know what year that was, but
yeah, but I still remember. Yeah. And the greens, you talked about your caddy knowledge. Somehow I was able to par 17. I had a real long birdie putt, and the guy comes over to the member, I was with, and he said, laddie, what's your target? And I showed him, and he goes, oh, you're going to Nakajima, you hit it there. I go, what? He goes, you put it on that line, it's ended up in the bunker. He said, you got to hit it, 5 feet higher than I wanted to hit it. So I did, and it rolled up about 5 feet, and I was able to say par. He goes, now go hit it where you wanted to hit it. And I even hit it a little higher than I wanted to, right down. It just rolled right down in the bunker, like he said. So, yeah, that knowledge and your caddy's knowledge was huge that whole week.
Oh, yeah.
Because those greens are everywhere.
Let me ask this, because I think this is a pretty simple question, but I'm wondering, okay, so you shot in that tournament, shoot 5 under the first day. And we're pretty consistent from there on out. But after that first day, are you thinking to yourself hey, I could really be competitive here? Or are you thinking, man, I don't know if I could do this for 3 more days or not? At what point do you realize, hey, I've got a chance to finish pretty strong here?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I got a lot of the amateurs got a lot of press after those first couple of days, because we had a lot of guys play well. There's probably 5 or 6 guys that were close to 5 under. And that stayed true the whole tournament. Ollie Snyderjans was up there. I forget if Matt Fitzpatrick was in that as an am or not.
Was it Peter Dunn? He led going into the last day.
Yeah.
He was a co-leader.
Yeah. And then another English guy, Ashley Chesters, was right up there. So to answer your question, I can go further later, but to answer your question, I was more worried about the second day's forecast, because it was supposed to be windy. The day ended up getting canceled in the afternoon because of wind. But I got my round in, 1 over, and I was ecstatic about that. I remember played really well. And then we got in, and we're in the clubhouse, and they have this huge clock, but it's a wind gauge, and it's got the miles per hour whatever on the bottom, and this thing is going in circles like this, and it was just going like this gauge, and it was 45, 50, 45, 50, and we were just watching the coverage. I was like, there's no way they're out there playing. in this. And I think Billy Horschel was the first guy to say like his ball's just moving on the green. And
Yeah,
so
they had to stop. They've had to stop play because you
Yeah,
mark the
that's
putt and it starts rolling.
Oh yeah, and then I went a full day and a half without playing because I didn't play the next day because those guys had to finish or whatever it was. So it was a little weird, but kind of hung in there and played really well on the weekend as well. So couldn't ask for much more.
Did you play with Sergio your last round?
Yeah, I played with Webb on Saturday or whatever day that would have been, and then fourth round I played with Sergio.
So how was that playing with Sergio? Did he talk, or was he like, "Hey, you're an amateur. I'm not going to talk to you"?
It was great. I mean, we both were playing well. I think he was 5 under through 10, and he might have been one back, and I was 4 under through 10, I think, or if I remember correctly. So we were both playing really well. I remember him making his 5th birdie, and just the crowds were just like kind of filling in and filling out because they loved him. And he made his fifth birdie on, I think, 8 or something like that. And he kind of looks at me, it's coming off the green, kind of smiles, and we give each other a fist pump because I mean, I get goosebumps just thinking about that now because I can kind of see, if I close my eyes, I see like exactly where we were and exactly what happened.
And I'm sure the size of those crowds and how much they're into it. And it's not like a Ryder Cup where they're just rooting for their side. I mean, they're usually pretty vocal in supporting everybody who's playing well. And, like I said, I still remember watching it, and the announcers, you almost became an afterthought, but you stayed on the leaderboard, through like 14 or 15, you
threw probably 15 and then 3-putted 16 and then bogeyed 17 because that hole was impossible. And then part 8 and ended up, I forget what I shot the last day, a couple under.
I think shot 70.
70, yeah. So I kind of stayed at there 4 under, kind of holding on for dear life on that backside. Sergio kind of did the same thing. He made a couple bogeys coming in. I think we ended up tying overall, but
I think you tied for like 6th or
tied for 6. Yeah,
it's awesome. And then they had the 3-way playoff. So now you're out there. Zach Johnson's getting the claret jug, and you're getting the silver medal. So how was that?
It was pretty cool. We actually got to watch the playoff pretty much from. I have a picture on my phone, but pretty much right behind 18 green. They played 1 and then played 17, and then we saw them finish on 18. So it was pretty cool with that. Then we got to go to the RNA clubhouse up on the balcony, which was awesome. We got a few pictures up there. And then walking out there, we actually had someone yell. I think they yelled Effingham or T-topless.
They yelled to topless when you got your – and
so that was pretty fun.
I know some people who were there. Tony Weber was there, and he claims he heard it, but he said it wasn't them.
Yeah, it was in the stand somewhere. We kind of laughed about it after, and I was like, I wonder who is that?
Well, and because I remember hearing it going, wait a minute, did I just hear that?
Somebody sees the name Niebrugge and just automatically thinks T-Town, huh? That's interesting.
Probably some drunk St. Andrews College student in the back row of the bleachers. But because they kept showing during the playoff. I mean, you guys got a little TV time, you and your mom and dad, when they would show you up behind 18's green. That was kind of neat. But I'm glad you brought that up because I was going to mention that. I still remember them yelling that out when you were being presented your silver medal. So that was kind of a funny experience, really.
Yeah, it was. It was awesome.
So since you've got, that success, moving forward, I think your dad said you've had a couple little minor injuries you've had to deal with. And, the game of golf, there's such a fine line in being, cashing a check every week. And I mean, there's a very small margin for error.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I know you've played some Canadian events on the Canadian Tour and in the Corn Ferry. Where do you feel you're at right now, Jordan, with your game?
This year's been it's been interesting, a little difficult, but I think it's much needed kind of reset. I don't have any status this year for the first time since I turned pro, but I've definitely got a hard look at, what I need to work on to get better and get a little more consistent. And a lot of that so my coach quit coaching when I turned pro or right after. And so I kind of had to find a new coach, and I probably went through 3 or 4 coaches and never really found someone that kind of taught like he did. So it was a little difficult. And then 2 years ago, I started working with a new coach, and he wanted me to start hitting fades and kind of working on my swing and getting a little more consistent. And I pretty much went the exact opposite way I wanted to go. And I got even more inconsistent. Ball striking's always been a big part of my game, and I've always leaned heavy on it. I've always been great at ball striking, and so not having that over the last couple of years has been difficult. Kind of going away from what I did when I was in college or high school. So this summer, just predominantly just working by myself. Trying to get to some of the fields that I had in the past, and I've started to play really well over the last couple months. So it's very good to see that kind of working and me getting more comfortable with that. So I'm kind of looking forward to playing some events in this fall and kind of going from there.
Well, like I said, all the best in those, because it is, I mean, there is such, like I said, there's that fine line from, you getting a silver medal and you missing the cut in the qualifier by 1 shot. I mean, it's, it's a cruel sport. And yeah, like I said, I'd like to be able to start watching again. I still in my man cave have my autographed British Open towel. Now, your dad said you autographed it. I may have to have it analyzed. Hell, your dad may have.
I probably did. I don't know who else would have autographed it.
Well, I'm your dad, but he goes, well, just order them and take them to mom and dad's house, and we can, So yeah, it's proudly displayed down there. So it's one of my prized possessions now.
Well, hopefully a new one soon.
Well, yeah, like I said, that's awesome, and I'd love to see you start, getting back, on those events, especially, I think golf is getting, right, wrong, or indifferent, more coverage than it's gotten in the last couple of years.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's kind of become that mainstream again, and like I said, looking at the guys you played with in college, on amateur teams and such, you've played with those guys all along. It's just a matter of getting yourself back in that position.
Yeah, for sure.
So, all right. So is everything ready for next week?
I think so, yeah.
Because as a groom, you really just have to show up. You really don't have anything.
I've had a few responsibilities, but not much. She's been kind of taking lead, and she's doing a good job. So I don't have to worry about much.
That's a good decision on your part. I think 31 years ago, I was in charge of making sure we had drinks. Yeah.
Now, is your fiance, does she play or no, not at all?
No. I don't think if she got good enough, it'd be fun, but I think a 1 hole or a range sesh is good enough for me and her.
Yeah, I guess I don't know if that would. I guess I don't know if that would be good or bad. Like if if you guys are out there competing, or if it's better to have a thing, that you go
Yeah.
do on your own. I guess everybody needs their hobbies, right? So
Wants to put some time in and get good at it. I'm all for it, but I think she watches me enough where that's enough golf for her.
Well, and I can understand that. Yeah, if she's okay watching you, then that's the biggest part of the battle right there. Because if you guys were playing and you're not conceding that 2-footer, she may get a little cross with you. Yeah, that would bite you.
Yeah.
Next time, if for some reason you're back in town this fall,
I was just there.
I know that's what Tammy said. You were just here, but coaching T-Town boys golf, I'd love to, if you're in the town, I'd love to have you talk to my kids for 15 minutes.
I'm sure I'll be back down there. Only 4.5 hours away now instead of all the way down in Florida. So I'll probably go down and see Grandma and Grandpa a few times this fall. So
yeah, good place to visit. Nothing wrong with that.
yeah, nice to drive.
And I think I don't know, you were down with your dad one time during basketball season when I was helping at T-Town. You probably talked over a cold soda briefly at the KC Hall.
Yeah.
Just, because that's a nice thing to do with someone.
Oh, yeah.
Dustin, you got any more questions for Mr. Niebrugge?
Well, like I was telling him before we started recording, I don't know. I have a lot of intelligent golf questions to ask. I just haven't, but I got my 20th class reunion coming up here in a couple of weeks, and there's apparently a golf outing that's associated with this, and I haven't played in at least 10 years. There's probably not any advice that he can give me that's going to save me from being embarrassed.
Airborne and forward and hit down on the ball to make it go up.
Yeah.
That's what I tell my golf kids all the time. They think they got to pick it. I go, no, you got to hit down through. That's how you get it airborne. So
I figure, I'll hit a range one time before I go, figure out which club I'm actually hitting halfway decently, and then just play the entire round with it. Kind of a tin cup type of thing, right? Like I'll break everything but the 7-iron.
Yeah.
you may just need to convince your class to have like a 5K, and then beat them in the 5K.
I'd struggle with that even now. That I brought up tin cup. Real quick. Do you like what's your favorite golf movie? Because that's something I can actually something I can actually relate to here.
Favorite golf movie.
Not as many choices as baseball. I mean, you could make a long list of the baseball movies.
I'd probably have to say, man, that's a tough one. I really like Happy Gilmore, but
Yeah.
I kind of like The Legend of Bagger Vance a lot.
You like Happy Gilmore more than Caddyshack?
I do, yeah.
Jordan, wow. And
I don't
Bagger
know.
Vance, the greatest game. That's pretty good. Especially when they just had the Open at the country club.
The greatest game was probably the top 3.
That's pretty good.
Mike, you've always struck me as more of a Caddyshack 2 kind of guy. Honestly.
No. That's one
that
that
seems
should
like
not
one
have
that would
been
appeal
made.
to you for some reason.
Should not have made
I've
Caddyshack.
never been a big Caddyshack fan. I don't know why.
Oh,
I don't
see,
know.
that came out when
I enjoy it, but I'm not. It's not one of my favorites. I'll say that.
we were in college then when that came out. That's all you heard on the golf course when you went was people doing the Bill Murray. All right. I got one last question.
All right, good.
Jordan, when you're playing, how the idiots that are yelling on the tee when you hit a shot, do you ever just want to turn around and just smack somebody?
You honestly don't. I mean, unless it's like in the middle of your backswing, you honestly
Right.
don't hear it. You're so kind of focused in and zoned in. Like a lot of even we don't. I mean, Corn Ferry didn't have quite as many fans, but if something happened or a fan dropped something, they say they're sorry or something. I'm like, I didn't even know that happened. But I'm sure on tour they get their fair share of idiots just kind of doing whatever they want. But
Because I'm guessing at the British Open, there's more drunk fans than any tournament.
yeah, but they're respectful over there.
Yeah, they are.
Do you prefer to have a pretty good crowd around you as opposed to, maybe playing an event where there's just not a lot of people there? I mean, what does it kind of maybe give you a little extra adrenaline and give you a little extra focus to have these people watching and want to put on a show?
Yeah, for me, I mean, I love playing in front of people. Kind of get to showcase, what you can do, and kind of gives you, like you said, a little extra focus. I mean, obviously, there's a little more nerves, but I think that kind of just makes you even more kind of in tune with what you're doing.
Well, there you go. There's my intelligent question for the day. I've used up all my bullets, Mike. So
Won a show, Whitey. That's pretty good.
well, we've unless you got anything else, I suppose we've probably taken up enough of Jordan's time. But Mike, I'll let you be the guy to make that decision.
Well, Jordan's probably got to go like wrap silverware for the reception or something. I'm sure there's another job he's got to do for his wedding next week. And
We're all settled.
attaboy. Well, good luck. Enjoy the day. It's the greatest day. It's even better than getting that silver medal. Trust me, it's a day, and I'm sure you have plenty of family to enjoy it with. Coming from this area up there. So we wish them all safe trips, and hope we get to run into you sometime. You're home this fall. Like I said, I'd love to steal you for 15 minutes, talk to my golf kids, and that'd be cool because they only hear me, and that's not always good advice. So.
I would love to.
All right. Well, Jordan, thanks. We'll let you jump off, and Dustin and I will wrap up real quick. And again, good luck next week.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It was good.
All righty. Thank you.
Yep, we appreciate Jordan taking the time to hop on with us. We'll let him go ahead and log off the call. He probably doesn't want to hear any of the jabbering that we'll have to do here. But Mike, you and I just talked a couple days ago, so I suppose not a whole lot else has changed as far as things that we discussed. Pretty good week of interviews, though.
Well, yeah, and you had a major league pitcher who's a very good major league pitcher.
Yeah,
and I've been texting back and forth with Jordan's dad quite a bit off and on, and literally that morning or later that night after we did Chase or Chad's interview, Rodney texted me and just said, hey, yeah, Jordan says he'll do an interview. So I've been trying to get in touch with him. And I don't mean this to slight any of our guests, but this is the most decorated guest we've had. I mean, this person holds the record at the British Open. This is the 150th anniversary. And all of those amateurs and who have played there, he's got the lowest score for 4 days. And that says something.
Yep. I'll let everybody in on this, especially now that Jordan's not on anymore. So not to embarrass you too much, but this is since you were pitching me on the idea of us doing this show, that was the name that you've been tossing around as a guy that you'd like to get on here. So this is almost a year in the making. This being able to get Jordan on here. So yeah, that's real good.
Well, and the Open tees off tomorrow. And it's the 150th, and it's back at St. Andrews where Jordan won. Timing couldn't have been any better. He said, yeah, he could do it. And then I didn't hear back from him. And I'm like, I just called him. I said, hey, let's set up a time. And he was awesome. I thought he did a good job in the interview. I feel for him. He was at that top. I mean, I remember Rodney talking about some of the club companies and people talking to him and sponsorships when he came out of college. And he's just not reached that level again. And like I say, there's so many little things that can happen in a golf game. There's no margin for error. And, you have the day all of a sudden where the ball won't go in the hole or something. And, I'd love to see him get back there because you can go on YouTube and find highlights shows of an hour or more from that 2015. And it's so cool just to, knowing him. And when he was on about the 13th hole, he was maybe 2 shots back at that point.
Mhm.
And he's right there, and you're starting to think, what if? He said he bogeyed 16 and 17. He finishes 4 shots out of the lead. And, 16, 17, pretty tough holes. You go birdie, you're tied for the lead. It's just, there's so many little things that can happen, but it was just so fun to watch and see him there. And again, I'm glad he mentioned that when he got the medal, because I was like, did someone just yell? I mean, you hear it clear as day when he's getting presented the medal. You hear just someone that goes to top. And I was like, where did that come from? But it was pretty cool. And his mom and dad, Rod and Judy, like I said, both graduates. I'm pretty sure Judy went to Eastern too, and she did. But, I got to know Rod pretty well. Good family, good kid. I hope to get him where if he's in town, he can come talk to our golf kids. That'd be awesome.
Well, I'll be sure to let everybody know how Meadowview Golf Course treats me here in a couple.
Meadowview's in great shape. I had a couple of my kids played up there.
I haven't been there. When I was in high school, my parents, I remember for Christmas one year, my parents got me a set of cheap clubs and a year pass to Meadowview. And I played all the time and got halfway decent at it. I mean, not great, but not bad. And it just
it's the greatest game in the world, Whitey. When I have my open gyms, we go out to 4-way and kids can come out and hit balls for my golf team. And good friend of mine, Warren Schlecht, he's 91 years old, and he's out there every morning. When you're 91, you can't go play baseball. You can't go play basketball. You can't, you can play golf. Yeah. And it's such a fun game. There's more business done on a golf course than probably in a conference room, to be honest, but it's a lot of fun. And again, somebody local who was there, who's touched it. That's so cool.
I think that the appeal of it is that you can have a couple cold ones while you're playing. That's what you're really thinking about.
That's another silver lining. I may or may not have done that too on the golf course.
Can't believe it. Well,
hard to believe.
That concludes a busy week for us.
Yeah, that was a great show.
Yeah. So
two great shows this week. We may start doing 2 a week moving forward, Whitey.
Well, you'll have to talk to my spouse about that one.
Hey, where's Matt? This is bigger than a baseball player, and she's not in the background. I'm a little disappointed.
She's at her grandma's house. I'm still in the office. So.
I know. Well, so am I. We're workaholics.
Well, something like that. But I don't know. It's actually easier for me because I don't have to worry about kids barging in the room or dogs barking downstairs or, any of that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And I've just got to make sure I'm home in time to pick up a few elderly gentlemen to take them to our card club tonight. So my good deed there.
All right. Well, we won't hold you from that any longer, but we don't know exactly when we'll do this again. But I
talked to another potential guest already today.
And once school starts,
college golf coach.
What's that?
College golf coach.
Oh, okay. Okay.
There's a theme. Right now, this time of the year, there's a theme.
Well, and we mentioned it before, but I'll reach out to Coach Hefner at Effingham and see about the season preview. And once school starts, we'll probably go weekly again just to talk about what's going on in the high school landscape. And that kind of lets you know where we're at. But
we might even we could possibly even talk to Dave Waltman about the football field.
Well, yeah, and Dave, he sooner or later he's going to retire too, and so
sooner. I think he's got 2 years. I know he's done the thing with TRS and made it official with the school board.
I hesitate to say for sure because I don't know, but I do know that is on the horizon, and that's high school athletic directors appreciated commodity at a school. I don't think people understand what all they do. So I think that's actually, a good idea to talk to some ADs about what goes into the job. And especially at Effingham, it's not just the athletics that Dave has to deal with either. So it's
well, and I did that for 2 years at the Topples. Luckily, I had a secretary pretty well that I dealt with. And I'll tell you, Lois Meinhardt.
Yes. Listen, I will tell you this much, and this isn't against anybody who was ever in the AD job at T-Town.
Because Lois retired. Everyone said I drove Lois into retirement, which wasn't. And then I had Sharon Repke helping me the next year. And you talk about some handholders, those ladies, saints.
Yeah, we knew, working at the newspaper, we knew if you wanted to get answers quickly, Lois was the person that you got a hold of, because she knew everything. She knew what was going on. She had her finger on the pulse of T-Town athletics.
And she had the hand around the throat also. I mean, she was, her and Sharon, because Lois obviously was my first year, and then Sharon was when I eventually ended up on the disabled list. So going through that with me, when there was days I didn't even know my name, so
Well, we know
pretty important people.
We know Dave takes in our show on occasion, and so hopefully that wouldn't be too much of a chore to get him on here. But that's pretty good idea of a little live brainstorming session here. But
we'll get him on here. We'll work.
Yeah, I don't think we'll have to twist his arm too much. All right.
Well, when he hears what the stipend is, he'll sign up.
Is that right? Well, I didn't know we were making offers like that. We should.
Well, I just saw one of our early guests, Doug Mimoser, a week or so ago, and he said he still hasn't found his check in the mail. And I told him he needs to keep looking because it's there.
Is Doug doing all right?
Yes, physically he's doing. Yeah, he's playing a little golf. I think he's back to playing about where he was before. So he's walks, got a little limp, got a hitch in his giddy up when he walks. He's lost that quick first step, but he's doing pretty well.
Good to hear it. All right, Mike. Well, if unless you got anything else that you need to get off your chest right now, I think we'll call the show.
Good show, and I'll be in touch. We'll work on getting a few more people.
Sounds like a plan. All right, we'll talk to you later.
Send me that text. I'll get it out to people tonight.
Sounds good. All right,
Thanks.
Mike.